June the 24th, 2016. Once again, I want to congratulate you guys in Britain for throwing off the shackles of the European Union. Now, you never took the euro dollar. You held that, and that was almost an omen, and I think it played out in the end. But once again, they've declared June 23rd as your Independence Day. It's amazing, a week apart. Let me say this. Just as we've been told here in the United States that your vote really doesn't count and doesn't really matter, we've seen that with the Brexit vote, but you guys hung in there tough. You hung in there tough. And I want to say this. Now we're seeing negative reports come out. Again, media-biased reports from Europe, from here in the United States, and from Britain in that area. And they're saying, well, it's not really what you think, guys. It could take 5 to 10 years to really break free from the Eurozone. Let me tell you. Now France, Italy, and the Netherlands want out. Their exit side of their politicians are now filing and gaining petitions, gaining pressure to bring a vote up to exit. Now, how will it take Britain 5 to 10 years to exit the euro when it's about to crumble now? That should be the plans for the politicians and not this, again, lying approach to what the public is hearing there. Now, Donald Trump was for Brexit. I was for Brexit. Most of the people that listen to these videos was for Britain regaining its freedom. A lot has happened. The stock market in the United States, as far as the Dow Jones, closed out over 600 down. Worldwide, they were down. And, guys, some of that was manipulated, and we have to watch this because Soros, if you look at some of the information from the video before this, sold out of basic stocks before this vote. Even though he was against Brexit, he backed up his liability, or either he planned it this way to appear one way, but for it to end up in the other way. But either way, he backed himself up, and he sold out a lot of his stocks and bought a lot of gold and gold stocks. And gold went up tremendously today, probably the largest one-day gain in years. It was around 50 to 60 the last time I checked. Now, that was the only play that went up. Oil went down, stocks worldwide went down from 3 to 4 to up to 7 to 8% in different places of the nation. I mean, of the world, guys. Something to look for. Something to pay attention to because we had a Black Friday. Now, it's kind of amazing that how the New World Order will bring information out on a Friday. Like today, we know that the referendum was yesterday in the voting, and with the time zone, the information really came out today on Friday. Many people are calling Black Friday, which is true. But that gives the stock markets worldwide a couple of days to make a plan, in other words, and kind of shut down the trading and in some ways shut down the banks on Sunday, Saturday afternoon. I know you have your ATMs, but be aware that all of this can be switched immediately. So just pay attention where your money's at. Pay attention to what kind of food and water resources you have in place. If there's toys you don't need, there are places that you can take that cash and get survival supplies and food that last up to 20, 25 years if you don't open the containers. You know, many people that I know have done it already. They've listened to good advice, so be prepared for that. There's a lot of things going on. Something that happened in Cleveland, guys, it's amazing to me that people aren't seeing through what has happened. But remember the video where we talked about there were leaders of the Black Lives Matters movement that were planning chaos at both the Democrat and Republican convention this year to bring about martial law. Well, Cleveland, for the Republican convention about a month or so ago came in and zoned off certain areas away from the convention center to try to stop this. They were going to put up these safety zones and no protest zones and no parade zones, and try to get that away from the arena there so that they could go forward with the convention. But the plan is to create enough chaos to stop it. Well, what happened? Even though Cleveland came in and they did a pretty good job, guys, and it's not really being fairly reported, but a federal judge stepped in and said that it was illegal, and said that they could protest anywhere they wanted to, parade anywhere they wanted to, and the judge, if you look at the information, was appointed by Bill Clinton. You think a favor got paid back to the Clinton administration? They would love to see this chaos. Remember, it's Democrat, Obama, Clinton, wolves in the same sheep's clothing. But again, this convention is something that we need to focus on, guys, and I hope you folks over in Britain pray for us the way that we pray for you. And remember, they're going to try to do everything they can media-wise to make you regret breaking those chains. But after you've seen the austerity that has gone across Europe, and the way Merkel has forced the open borders for not only Europe but you guys in Britain, you've seen the destruction. We have watched it. There were Muslim clerics, guys, that were protesting BREXIT because they said the European Union judges were easier on them than the British judges, and they were under EU laws in a lot of ways. Again, they never took the euro dollar, they kept the pound, and that is going to make it tremendously easier for this breakup. Guys, a lot of things are happening. I think now one of the things to focus on is what will be the chaos involved with the Republican convention in Cleveland in about 25 days. Will that lead to such mass disruption, or will they try to rig the polls to make it look like they're rigged so that millions of Americans will say, wait a minute, this is rigged, we're not going to stand for it. This was our last chance to break the chains that bind us. And now you're going to rig these polls. And guys, remember this. When people say your vote doesn't count because it's rigged, the only way that Donald Trump has made it this far is because of a groundswell of voters. In other words, it was too large to hide. So get out and vote. It doesn't cost you a dime. Not one dime. And it could be our last chance. In Britain, congratulations. Don't let the media and these politicians lie to you. Cameron said he's out, but he's got till, what, October and November, guys? So watch him. You can't trust this guy. We can't trust the people we have here. Cameron and Paul Ryan must be blood kin. It's a heads up. Be safe.